So you want to be a rock star, kid? Not just any rock star, you want to be the voice of a generation who's stuck living in previous generations. Well, I've got you covered, and I know your attention span sucks, so we're gonna make this simple for you. I'm gonna show you how to make e-punk, incelcore, Gen Z grunge, and we're gonna make it so simple even you can do it. Ready? So you're gonna need 3 things to make incelcore. Number 1, a guitar. Number 2, a bass, or a bass plugin, because your broke ass probably doesn't even own an actual bass. And any live drum samples or plugins. Most people just use addictive drums for this genre. I'm the worst human alive, so I use Ableton. Just use BandLab or FL or some shit. It doesn't fucking matter. For the instrumental, playing sloppy is encouraged. You're gonna want to palm mute your guitars in the verses. I use an acoustic guitar for this, and it sounds like this. So for the chorus, you're going to want your guitars to be distorted as fuck. Compress the shit out of them, put a fuck ton of distortion on it. You really want it to sound horrible. Oh yeah. For the bass in the chorus, you just want to play the root note of whatever chords you played, which is just the lowest note. It's going to sound something like this. Again, distortion, compression, making it sound like shit is what you want on this. And you could play some of the other notes in the chord every now and then if you want to add a little bit of spice and add some rhythm to it. You can hear those little note fills at the end. And you can see it's just repeated over and over again. You don't need to be a good player. If I turn on the metronome, you're gonna hear how fucking offbeat this is. It's barely holding on, which is what you want. So for the verses, you're just gonna wanna rinse and repeat what you already have. So you can either take your palm muted guitar, put it again in the verses, take your bass, put it again in the verses, or take that fucking distorted guitar, take the bass and the drums out, and put it in the verses. At this point, you've already pretty much recorded all the guitar and bass you're gonna wanna do. So for the drums, you want a really smeared sound. You want it to sound like shit, that way people turn up the song way, way more. This is basically like a new gen technique so that people will listen to your music as loud as possible. If the drums are thumping, it's not really incelcore. So you can hear they sound good, but they're not really clean. They're super distorted, they're offbeat. And when you put it all together, you should get something that sounds like this for your chorus. So for the vocals, you're going to want some vocals that sound like shit, mean nothing, and sound self-deprecating. So I don't use auto-tune because I think it sounds worse, and that's what we want. You're going to want to layer your vocals, so one in the center, one hard left, one hard right, and again, no auto-tune. This is what raw vocals should sound like.
We got a lot going on. Do you wanna go star? Roller coaster, roller coaster. Ooh.
So you can hear how shitty that sounds. A little bit of reverb goes a long way. Now, as far as vocal effects, right? Just compress the fuck out of them, put a gate on them. And if you don't know what a gate is, fucking skip the gate. It doesn't fucking matter. It's supposed to sound like shit. And then add some distortion on top of everything, and you should get something that sounds like this.
Roller coaster, roller coaster, roller coaster. Ooh.
A good rule of thumb is to take out some of the high end after the distortion. That way it's distorted, but it also sits back in the mix. It's not too forward. Incelcore is not about making things super punchy or high fidelity. It's about creating a fuzz and a wall of sound in a way kind of similar to shoegaze, except we're not gay, so we're not making shoegaze.
Another good rule of thumb is when you're doing the distortion, go until it sounds like it's too much distortion, and then go a little bit further. That way it sounds even more like shit. Whenever you have everything together, your chorus should sound something like this. So let's talk about the mixing and mastering a little bit. Previously, I said you want it to sound fuzzy and you want it to sound like shit. That's 100% true. So that means on your group for the guitars, throw more distortion on top of both guitars together. It means on your bass, throw 2 to 3 layers of distortion if you have to. Throw some compression on it. And on your master, you're really just going to want to focus on clipping everything. So the more you clip it, or if you don't have a clipper and you want it to sound even shittier and you want to go for like a heartbreaker or like a Heaven Zero Nevea vibe or whatever the fuck you want to go for, or Fried by Fluoride, you could use some sort of distortion instead of a clipper. I mean, it's all generally the same shit. This genre is about a shitty, raw sound, so don't be afraid to lean into your weaknesses. If all goes well, you should have a song that sounds something like this.
Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't wanna ruin the movie. Crash the blood
Okay,
on the way.
I have a problem. I have a big problem.
Now you're ready to LARP, so have fun.